The most famous botanical masterpiece in human history has never been found, because for 2,000 years everyone has been looking in the wrong city. We are told that the Hanging Gardens of Babylon were a lush, mountain-shaped paradise rising out of the scorching Iraqi desert. King Nebuchadnezzar II supposedly built this green mountain around 600 BC to cure his wife, Amytis, of her crippling homesickness for her green homeland. Ancient writers described multi-tiered terraces of stone, giant trees growing hundreds of feet in the air, and a massive mechanical irrigation system pumping thousands of gallons of water uphill daily from the Euphrates River. It was so spectacular that the Greeks named it one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. But there is a massive, uncomfortable problem. Despite decades of intense excavations, archaeologists have found absolutely nothing. German archaeologist Robert Koldewey spent 18 years digging up the ruins of Babylon, starting in 1899. He uncovered the legendary Ishtar Gate, the colossal city walls, and Nebuchadnezzar's royal palace. He uncovered thousands of clay tablets detailing every single building project the king ever commissioned. Nebuchadnezzar was a notorious braggart who recorded every brick, every beam of cedar, and every ounce of gold used in his city. Yet in all those thousands of recovered texts, there is not a single mention of the Hanging Gardens. Not one. Even worse, no contemporary Babylonian writer ever wrote about them. The only accounts we have come from Greek and Roman writers who lived hundreds of years later and who never actually saw the gardens with their own eyes. For centuries, historians were forced to accept a disturbing conclusion. The greatest garden in the world was nothing more than a mythological fairy tale. But in 2013, an Oxford scholar named Dr. Stephanie Dalley shattered this consensus after spending 20 years deciphering obscure cuneiform tablets. She realized that the world had been blinded by a massive 2,000-year-old historical typo. The gardens did exist, but they weren't in Babylon. To find them, you have to travel 300 miles north, to the ruins of Nineveh, near modern-day Mosul. Nineveh was the capital of the Assyrian Empire, ruled by King Sennacherib, a ruthless military commander famous for destroying Babylon. Sennacherib was a master of water engineering, and he left behind clay prisms boasting of an unprecedented creation, a palace with a massive elevated garden that he called a wonder for all peoples. Sennacherib's garden wasn't just a collection of plants, it was an engineering miracle. To water this artificial mountain in the arid climate, he built a giant canal and aqueduct system stretching 50 miles into the mountains. This aqueduct, known as the Jirwan Aqueduct, was built using over 2 million hand-carved limestone blocks. It was essentially a massive stone highway built solely to transport water across deep valleys. To lift this water up to the highest terraces of his garden, Sennacherib's engineers cast massive bronze screws. This is a mind-blowing historical paradox because this technology is identical to the Archimedes screw, an invention supposedly created by the Greeks 3 centuries later. Sennacherib had unlocked the physics of water lifting long before the Western world even understood the concept. So how did history get it so wrong? When Sennacherib's Assyrian Empire fell, Nineveh was sacked, and the region was absorbed into the Babylonian sphere. Because Nineveh was so grand, it became known as the New Babylon. Over the centuries, Greek historians, writing from thousands of miles away, confused the 2 cities, merging them into a single legend. The ultimate tragedy of the Hanging Gardens is that while we spent 2,000 years searching the dusty, flat ruins of Babylon, the real ruins of this ancient wonder lay 300 miles away, scarred by modern warfare and neglected by history, waiting for the world to finally look in the right place.